Smash and Splash 4 is an enormous tournament that is slated to continue on the exciting summer of Melee we've had so far through events like Smash Summit and Get On My Level. So to get you excited for this weekend's festivities, let's take a look at the most interesting players and storylines you should be looking out for in Wisconsin this weekend. There are many storylines going on near the top of the table in Melee currently, but Armadas is the one you should be looking out for the most at Smash and Splash. The former best player in the world has only attended 4 major events so far this year and was only able to take home the gold for the first time 2 weekends ago at BAM in Australia that had minimal talent in attendance. So Armada is for sure looking to add another first placing to his 2018 at Smash and Splash, but it's not going to be easy, even with being seeded second. The first set that has real potential of getting in the way of that is his winner's semis match against Leffen, who he hasn't played against since Genesis 5. Armada is down 1-3 in their head-to-head so far this year, which includes the insane reverse 6-0 by Leffen in Grand Finals at Valhalla. Looking back at their most recent set, it appears that there are 2 major ways that Leffen was able to outplay him. First and most apparent, Leffen was able to get much more damage and often stocks after winning neutral, whereas Armada dropped combos much earlier, which was most apparent on their game on Final Destination, where Foxes can often convert just one grab into a stock. Kind of on the same note, Armada wasn't able to finish off stocks as cleanly as Leffen, such as dropping a handful of edge guards in Game 3, and Leffen hitting more of his signature Armada shines than Armada throughout the set. So if Armada is able to do both those things, and also avoid SDing like he did in the last 2 games of their last set, he should be able to control the highly momentum-dependent Fox Ditto and advance to Winners Finals. And most likely waiting for him there will be Melee's current final boss, Hungrybox. Armada is the only player this year who has a winning record on Hungrybox, as they met at Summit for the first and only time this year. However, before that, Armada hadn't been able to beat Hungrybox since Royal Flush back in May of 2017, so Hungrybox is still definitely the favorite in the head-to-head. Taking a page out of Kenneke's book, I took a quick look at their last set at Summit to see what I could find. Quickly running through, Hungrybox won every game that he got a rest in, so maintaining a stock lead to keep that off the table is obviously very important. Armada also took 11 out of 18 stocks with up smash and only 2 with up throw up air, which shows him using a more similar style to Leffen than Plup against Hungrybox. This is a rematch that I'd really like to see to find out if Armada's win at Summit was an outlier or the beginning of someone finally cracking the code against Hungrybox. Before we jump on to taking a look at some other players, let's just quickly talk about Armada's path in losers if he isn't able to beat Leffen. First off is projected to be Mango, who recently beat Armada at Summit for the first time since Royal Flush in a close Game 5 set, so even though Armada is still the favorite to win, it's a bit scary of a prospect. After that, he'll have Mewtwo unless Wizrobe knocks him out again like he did at MomoCon last weekend. And he's really going to be hoping for that upset, as Armada has lost his last 3 sets against the King. If he's able to break the trend, he'd be back for a rematch with Leffen in Losers Finals, which brings us to the end of our section on Armada. But we're not done with Sweden just yet, as his brother Android is going to be competing in his second tournament in the US since his underwhelming 65th showing at Genesis 5, where he lost to Stango and IBDW without taking any top 100 wins. He's been talking about switching from a Sheik main to a Falco main, but we still saw him playing Sheik at Genesis 5, so it'll be interesting to see which character he pulls out at Smash and Splash. I tried to reach out to him on Twitter to clarify what he'd be playing, but I got no response by the time I was making this video. He's actually projected to lose to Kale and end up on loser's side of top 64, which makes sense in light of his most recent showing, but is totally doable of a win for the Swede. With a win over Kale, he's got Hungrybox, Cobb, then Westballs or Michael, and with a loss, he's got Absent Page, Rocky, and None. So whatever happens in pools, he's got his work cut out for him. So be on the lookout for how Android performs and what character he ends up playing this weekend. Another player to keep your eye out for is Jaken Shaken, a Marth from Ohio who made a huge splash at Aegis in April, where he took his first top 100 wins against Cal, Rick, and Squid, all at one event. The only larger tournament he's attended since then was Pound Underground, where he finished at 33rd, taking respectable losses to IBDW and HT, and not being able to match the heat he brought earlier in the year. And he's got quite a tough projected path ahead of him if he wants to add more top 100 wins to his resume at Smash and Splash. His winner's semis pools match against None will most likely see him knocked into losers, where he's projected to meet Kentucky's best player and Peach main, Cobb. He's already proven that he can beat high-level spacies, but here's where Jake will have to prove if he can beat great floaties players as well. If he's able to get over that hump, he's got a rematch with Cal, followed by either Michael or Westballs, and then Pew Pew to look forward to after. So he's most likely not going to be able to make a deep run at Smash and Splash, but if Jake and Shaken gets to play on stream, be sure to tune in. I know you're sick and tired of hearing me talk about him, so only briefly touch on Absent Page. He's coming off an incredible weekend at Combo Breaker that might have bumped him into the top 25, where he finished 3rd, taking wins off of S2J and Duck. If he's able to beat Cobb to make it out of top 64 on winner's side, he's got Lucky to face off with, which is in the realm of possibility, but still going to be a tough win to take. If he does, he's got Rocky next because of Axe dropping out, which means we could realistically see Absent Page facing off with Leffen in winner's quarters. If he's not able to beat Lucky, we'll see him having to trudge through Android, Rocky, and None to make any headway in the bracket. If you're not already looking out for what Absent Page is going to do next, now is the perfect time to start. Another standout from Combo Breaker was the legendary netplay puff Michael, who beat Nintendo's Marth, S2J, and Dreffen on his way to 4th place right behind Absent Page. Whether he'll start in top 64 in winners all depends on if he's able to take out NorCal's 82nd ranked Rocky. With a win, he'll have Nakama Man because of Axe dropping out of the event, followed by either Lucky or a rematch with Absent Page. With a loss against Rocky, he's projected to have Westballs in his path, which will be a tough fight if he's not able to beat Rocky's Falco. But bracket permutations, especially on loser side, are always really hard to predict, so be on the lookout for Michael to take some more top 100 wins and state his own case for potentially being the 2nd best active Jigglypuff player in the world. Last up we have Red, a Fox player from MDVA who ended up ranked 65th on last year's top 100. There's not much in way of predictions that we can make for his projected bracket matches because he hasn't attended any major out of region since the Big House 7 in October of last year. But with MDVA slowly becoming one of the strongest regions in the world on the backs of players like Zane, Lod, and Junebug, I don't think only attending local events will affect him too hard. His projected bracket starts with a test from Long Island's Darktooth, followed by Armada, which is a win Red probably won't be able to make no matter how much practice against Lod he might have. In losers, he'll have Reeves Marth, which is also a match that could go either way before he faces off with Hugs, which will probably be the end of his event. Despite the fact that he doesn't have a great bracket to make a deep run, I'm excited to see Red back on the national stage, which is something I hope we get to see more of as the year goes on. Anyhow, that's about it for this video. In an informal setting, I want to highlight 2 more players. Pew Pew, who I talked about a lot in my Gommel video, but then he didn't show up to Gommel, so it really couldn't get anything out of that. But he was coming off a great performance at Flatiron. He hasn't been to anything big since, so I'm excited to see how well he performs. And then we also have KJH, who won Combo Breaker. I believe he beat Swedish, he beat Absent Page. He had a really great performance, obviously, because he won Combo Breaker, so I'm excited to see what he can do as well. Also, if you haven't seen my video that came out earlier this week on the analysis of the Summit level up, I put a lot of work into it. I've heard from a bunch of people that they think it's my best video I've ever made. And I think I agree with this sentiment. I put a lot of work into this video, and I'm really, really proud of it. So there's going to be a link in the end screen once this video is over. Go check that out if you haven't already. It's a super informal and interesting video, at least from my perspective, and I'd love if you'd go check that out for me. I'm really proud of it. And another video obviously after you check out my Summit video, is one I mentioned earlier in the video. Keneki, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's always posting stuff over on Reddit, but he made a video on Plot versus HBox for, I believe it was just like the last year, and does some fantastic statistical analysis that I really enjoyed, and it is a fantastic video. I don't think it got nearly enough views that it deserves, so that should be down in the description as well to watch after you watch my Summit video. It's a fantastic video. He deserves a ton of subscribers. He should really keep making content. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I have my normal plugs. Go follow me on Twitter to get previews of videos early, and if the sub boxes aren't working, to get them over there. Follow me over on Twitch for my solo stream stuff that I'm trying to get back into, and for the Melee Stats podcast. And if you really like my videos, subscribe to me over on Patreon. I want to thank Toussaint for hitting me with that Patreon sub after this week's earlier video. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I think that's about it. I've been SaveAsUntitled. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.